Hey guys, what is up? So I'm sorry I have not been making a video lately. I just have been struggling with topics, other and just personal stuff as well. But hey, I'm back now. I'm going to be making videos, hopefully on the daily, especially because they're like this, very simple. So don't you worry, guys. I will be back. Now today we will be talking about the PSVR 2, and more specifically how hyped people are for it, or just how much of a pointless device it really is, at least in this current landscape. So I just want to start off with with like the PSVR 2, how what I think about it. I think it's honestly a pointless thing. I think it's a pointless device because you're going for a niche here with how expensive the product is, and I don't know who you're trying to go for, but I don't think people will very much like it. you know. So here's why the PSVR 2 I think is going to be a failure, because number one, it's pricing. The price is way too much. The thing costs, I think, about as much or more than a PS5 itself. It's like, what? What? And for what? For what? For games um like these first person games that don't even have that good of graphics, and they all play pretty much the same too. A lot of them do. You know, don't get me wrong. There are some experiences that could be made around it, but in my personal opinion, I don't think so. I think the VR is just a gimmick, and it's a very expensive one at that. Do you know how people called the Wii a gimmick? Well, at least it was cheap, and people were able to get into it a lot easier because of its pricing. People are not going to get into the VR, bro. I'm sorry to tell you that's just not going to happen with the VR, especially if it's going to be that expensive, being more expensive than the device that you need, like to even operate the thing. So I have all my PlayStation consoles slash controllers over here. You know, I got the PSP, Vita, PS2, 4, and then 5. I'm getting a PS3 soon. Don't you guys fret? I'm kidding. I know you guys don't give a shit, but I will say that I like PlayStation. I got a lot of PlayStation consoles. Okay, the 3 is the only one I'm missing. So, with that being said, I like each and every one of them their own way. So this is coming from someone who does have experience in playing with PlayStation. And let me tell you something. Sony never excelled with doing gimmicks. The PS Move, complete failure. PlayStation Home, complete failure. And I know that was like a piece of software that you had in your PS3. I know, but like that's kind of still a gimmick, right? It tried to be a My Sims, but there's almost nothing to do in it. It was completely pointless in my eye. Ooh, excuse me, in my eyes. And then let's see, the gimmick that they try to do with the PS Vita, it failed. Like a lot of the times, more than not, when they do a gimmick like the PS4 Pro as well, that's also a gimmick. That failed. It fails miserably, right? Oh, the PS4 Pro did well. Right, that's why they're not making a PS5 Pro anytime soon, right? They're actually focusing on a PlayStation 6, which I think personally is a good move. And I'll talk about that in another video. But for now, I'm just going to say that VR2 is a gimmick. It absolutely is. And the original VR didn't even do that well either. So I'm actually surprised, which I'm surprised I didn't mention that, because that is the predecessor to this gimmick, or a previous endeavor of this gimmick. Um, so yeah, like no, the pricing is bad. It's like $600. That's more than the system itself. You know, and you need the PS5 in order to play the damn thing. It's just like, what's the point at that point? What's the point? All right? What's the point at that point? There you go. Vocabulary wins. No, but I'm just being honest here. No one's gonna buy into that, and even the VRs on PC, they're not as successful as they're making it seem like as well. The ones on PC, again, very little software is being made for it. Like even the Valve Index, like how many games are made specifically for that thing, right? And the games don't even look that good. A lot of them don't, you know? And how many we already got past the hardware, right? Like the VRs for the PCs could be up to $1,000, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, depending on the gigabytes, I guess, or the amount of memory that you want with it. So let's get to the pricing of the games. The games could be as much as $60. I'm not kidding. For VR games, you should make most of them free for even buying your crappy product. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. When the iPhone launched, how cheap were the games, right? Because people were just getting into iPhone. It wasn't. It was kind of expensive too, like really expensive. But it had a lot of features. But still, people were still on edge with the price. And developers still made games for that thing, regardless of the price, and people, they were counting on people getting into it for their games to be successful. So how much money did they make their games? Free to about $5. That should be the VR games right now. That's how much it should be. It should not be $60 like it's a full experience. It's not. It's like a demo basically for this new piece of hardware that no one cares about. Almost no one cares about anyways, right? So yeah, the pricing is a failure. That's the main reason why it's not going to succeed. Let's get to the second reason: software. What is on the PSVR 2? Nothing. Just a bunch of other gimmicks or other games that are on the PS5 that also work on the VR. Not really appealing. That's not an appealing factor. And they barely really how do you say? They barely like capture you too. Like they're not really experiences that's like, oh man, I need that VR. I need that VR, dude. No, you. They're gonna make people be like, I'm happy I don't have VR. And let's talk about that too. A lot of the games or a lot of the software on the VR2 or going to be on the VR2, they're gonna be shovelware, kind of like the Wii, right? The Wii had a lot of shovelware, but again, it was cheap enough for people to not care. See, this is what I don't understand. They're like they tried to do this VR thing for years now. I think like more than half a decade, right? But you guys are not getting it. The pricing and the software matters, and you guys just don't. You can't wrap your head around that. So yeah, and let's talk about the fact that it's not even backwards compatible with the original VR. What on earth? How are you gonna make a VR2, but you're not even compatible with the previous VR games? Not that it matters. A lot of it was shovelware too, but a lot of it was also like, okay, Resident Evil 7 was actually kind of good in VR. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't a bad experience, but in all reality, it was a gimmick. So, no, but the thing is that my point is, will I be able to play that with the VR2? Probably not. So in order to experience that game in the VR form, you have to get the original PlayStation VR, which is stupid. That doesn't make any sense. At least on PlayStation. Again, I'm talking about PlayStation VR right now. Which is dumb. It doesn't make any sense, right? So that tells you right there, it's like, okay, so I get even less value. With the PS5, I'm able to play all of PS4 games, and hell, some PS4 games I could actually upgrade to the PS5 version for free. Why on earth would I get this VR thing when I can't even play the original VR games that I might have already played on the original VR? That doesn't make any sense. Again, that's another thing that's a failure. And then let's get to number 3. So we went from pricing to software. Now number 3, the space that you need for it. A lot of it is very hit and miss. Like there are some games where you don't need space at all. You can just use a controller and it has the VR setting, right? Like you could just experience it just by wearing the headset and playing with the controller, right? Okay, but that makes VR kind of pointless. And you want to get the full VR experience? Okay, well, here's the thing. You have to get the PlayStation Move, by the way, which I don't know if it comes with the VR2 or not. I should have probably looked that up, but let's just assume that it does. That's still, like, more space that you need. I mean, yeah, you have to, like, move around your arms and stuff like that. Isn't that why the Wii kind of died out, right? I know I stopped liking the Wii because of that stupid gimmick that no one liked, right? So, like, With that being said, what makes you think that people are going to do a more expensive version of that with accessories that were dated since it came out? Like, yeah, the PlayStation Move no one even liked when it came out. What makes you think that people are going to like it just because it has your crappy VR in it? It doesn't make any sense. Or your crappy VR tech on it. That doesn't make any sense. That's another thing. That's just you're just gonna hear a lot of that doesn't make any sense because that's the type of thinking that you're getting with these people. Like a lot of it just doesn't make any sense, and now they're ruining my vocabulary. So what I'm trying to say is that it's inconvenient to play. There you go. The spacing, or like the overall experience, the pricing, everything about it is inconvenient. Um, yeah, so like what? You're gonna make it like a whole space for your VR? Or it's like, no, you're not. You're not gonna do that. Again, you might do that for your PC, but who's gonna do that for their console? I thought the point of console is to experience convenience, right? Over PC. That's what I thought. So what's going to be convenient about strapping a bulky headset on your face and playing little crappy games that you probably could have played on mobile, but with motion controls, like as if those didn't die out in 2011. Um, yeah, with like motion controls and a subpar experience at best that costs a lot of money. I don't know. I don't see a future for VR, at least not yet. I'm sure it'll have some audience later on when it's way cheaper, better technology, and just overall better games. When those happen, that's when VR will make an impact. Other than that, it will not at all get into the gaming market or be a success at all. The last thing I want to mention is that the pre-orders, if you don't believe me about it failing, the pre-orders for the VR2 underperformed significantly. This was Sony saying this. Significantly underperformed from what they thought. I don't know what they thought, really. It obviously wasn't a high number because the original one failed. So if they expected, if they expected more than that, or like less than a good number, obviously, because the first one failed. So what makes you think, or no, I'm sorry, that tells you that the VR is not a success, oh my God, is not a success. And I think Sony is dropping the ball with this, or not dropping the ball, but I think they should just ignore this VR thing until it becomes better, cheaper, just overall a more pleasant experience. Especially because like I talked to my brother about it. He wanted to get the VR2, and I'm like, dude, please wait for it. Please wait. The thing will drop in price within like a year or so. Yeah. I don't know. Like I told him that, look, man, there are better stuff for you to spend your money on. I mean, hell, you could get another console, or you could, get like you could save up and get a PC, bro. Like you do not need a PSVR2 right now. No reason to. It's not worth it at all. You can't even play your previous VR games. I told him all that. He's like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Like, people don't think about it when they buy this thing, but you could buy a lot better stuff with it, man. You really can. Like, me personally, if I had the money for a VR2, I would honestly just get a Series X. I won't even bother getting a VR2 at all, really. Not until it's in the bargain bin for like $50, which it will be in some period of time. But anyways, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Video Game Homie, and I'm signing out. Thank you.